All right, so I started a brand new series where I'm going to be rating your grades, and this is what happened.
Here they come.
The rules are simple. I give you the footage and a quick description. You send me a graded clip. And the idea for this episode was to put this tattoo shop inside Apple's headquarters.
Oh my God!
That's the vibe that I'm looking for. Now, the finalists from each episode are going to be rated from 1 to 5 stars. But stars is kind of lame, so we're gonna call it Qazis. And yes, there will be a winner, and yes, there will be a prize, but I'm not gonna tell you about it. You're just gonna have to watch the video. I'll be posting details about episode 2 on my dedicated Discord channel. If you want to participate, click the link in the description. You can also download this practice footage if you want to follow along. All I ask in return is a subscribe and a follow. Please and thank you. Let's roll the intro. So I thoroughly went through every single entry, and here are my picks. Alright, so let's start out with the mirror. Alright, so a couple of things that jump out to me. Let's start with this right here. I feel like the beard is just not the right color. It just feels over processed. I also know that this was red and not magenta, and same magenta is seeping through onto our dude's hand. Like, this just looks too wrong, right? Like, I mean, we can even see it on the scope where it's sitting, and that's just not right. And then also how pasty the skin looks here. These are all the things that I would correct. But one of the things that I do want to do, so this is our Rec 709, okay? So you have come a long way. I gotta give you that. When I think of Apple, I think of like pure whites, and you are doing some of that. But the problem is that your whites are not necessarily pure whites. Another thing that I wasn't a massive fan of is the grain, because I feel like grain to me speaks more ADIDAS than Apple. Apple is just normally very clean. And also I want to kind of share with you, like, when I talk about Apple, what am I thinking about? I'm not thinking about Apple's commercials, okay? Because remember, I said, put me in their headquarters. So that's what I'm talking about, not like how their commercials look, because their commercials are super moody, kind of dark, and they're not the same vibe as their headquarters. And that's why I made it very clear in my client brief. So if I look at these two shots, you can clearly see a lot of like what Apple is about. So let's look at it. So you see this white is right here, this line right there. So it's pure white, okay? And that's the Apple signature. If I put these two next to each other, now you get to see the problem. To me, Apple is just a little bit more pure white than this like blue feel that we're getting into. Honestly, I would give this about 2.5 Qazis. Let's move on to Badra Boy. This one, I gotta say, I like it because one of the things, once again, if we go here, that we see is that the contrast is very gentle. I mean, just look at the contrast, right? That is very gentle, it's breathing, and I'm seeing that here. So that is one thing that I like, because if you pay attention to this area right here and we go back, look how this area is cooked in this shot. Whereas here, we actually see the detail in the arm. And so it is like carefully done. I gotta say, it's clean. It's very clean. So I gotta give that to Badra, but I just feel like it's not extraordinary. I like the skin tone. It's very true to where Asian skin tone would be. Caucasian skin tone is also looking pretty good, although it's kind of on the thin side. What I would do is, like, even if I just go here, create a gradient window, do this, hit Shift H so we can see what we're doing. Let's park it somewhere around here, move it up to something like this. Right here, editable splines, click right here. And if I just grab that and pull this up, and if I just do before and after, you see the difference? Like, what a big difference we made. These are the things that you got to think about as a colorist. If you're going to use a window, what type of window? So you don't have to do additional steps. What I can do now is that I can just right click here, and under nodes, I can say, hey, give me an outside node. So now it's going to create opposite of what we just created. And now I can take my gamma and kind of pull it down, not too much. And even if I put it somewhere around here, yeah, sure, like it brings our guy down a little bit here. So then what we can do is we can go under here in the window, and then we can pull this out a little bit, because now we know like how we're playing off of, these windows are playing off of each other. So if I take these two, and if I do before and after, just look at the difference that we made. and how simple it was. That's something that I would do to like really bring this out. Overall, I gotta say, you did a pretty good job. I'm gonna give you 3.5 Qazis. All right, moving on to Colt. And here's the thing, there's so much potential here. Like when you guys probably look at this, be like, what the hell is he talking about? Just hear me out. I think he's adding a relight effect. Like there's a light, like magical light coming through that I'm kind of about. It's just that the balance is so off, which makes this look so good now. Like I wanna like up the rating here. What can we do here? You just gotta look at your vector scope. This is the problem child. We want to take that, and if you want to balance that image, we just gotta move this over, and that's gonna do the trick. So what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is this. Like if I were to just go printer lights, okay, so just keep an eye on my offsets right here, and I just go, hey, subtract green, one green. And I just subtracted one green, and just like look at how much better my shot already is looking. So if I go here and do before and after, you're seeing how much better it's looking. Can we subtract one more green? I think that's kind of pushing it. Can we subtract one yellow? Yes, we can. One green and one yellow, and we're right here. So what can we do now? What we can do right now is that I can go under my contrast. I can take my pivot, bring it down to around 3.4-ish, 3.35. So then our middle gray is kind of locked in. And now I can go on my contrast and I can just start cranking it, not too much, even something like that. And you can just see with just a few changes what we did to the shot. And now you know like what I was talking about. I saw so much potential in this because when I saw this, I'm like, man, there's like relighting effect coming through here. There's like some amazing stuff happening over here. Like this is the only shot out of all the entries so far where the skin tones are just chef's kiss, right? Like right here. Now if you're thinking, hey man, like the magenta is just a bit much on him, I can do half printer light and I can say subtract one, like half magenta. And I just did that. So if I go before and after, you can look at our dude's shirt and it's just pulling that magenta off of it and it's looking pretty clean. But unfortunately, since my boy Colt didn't give me this, I'm gonna have to judge this and it breaks my heart, but I gotta give it 2 Qazis. I'm sorry. It's just the balance is a really big thing when it comes to Apple. It doesn't need to be too hard to look really good. Like what you had going on had so much potential if you just knew those few things. It would have been just magic. We're moving on. We recently did a survey. Majority of you, regardless of the skill set, are struggling with shot matching, skin tones, balancing, and working with 8-bit footage. So I created a 1-hour-long free training that covers all of that. Plus, we'll wrap up the training with an extensive Q&A, and you'll also get a link to download the practice footage, power grades, and some of my personal LUTs. All right, so now we're on to David. I gotta say something. So the contrast is kind of pushed, right? I love the whites. Like I feel like the whites are so crisp and clean. I'm liking the skin tones. Like I'm digging it. I feel like the contrast is definitely too much. I mean, that's my only problem. And the grain. Again, the grain is just very urban, very Adidas original. It's not Apple at all. So what can we do here then? We can, I guess, go under contrast and just open it up a little bit like this. And then obviously I can't clean up the grain, like I have to use noise reduction, but it's not gonna be the same because it's monochromatic grain that you added compared to just like noise. I gotta give it 2.5 Qazis only because it's just really missing the mark on like what's expected of you, like the grain part. I don't know, is it harsh? I don't know. Like, I mean, if you guys think it's harsh, drop a comment below. I don't know. I mean, I'm just like really split between 2.5 and 3 because there is some magic happening here. I don't know. I gotta go with my gut. I gotta give it 2.5. Sorry, David. All right, moving on. Okay, so now we got director Hillier, I believe. I am absolutely terrible with foreign names. People butcher my name all day, every day. I mean, why the hell do you think I go by my last name? Because my first name is Waqas, and I mean, it's like Waqas, Waqazi, Wasquas. I mean, it gets pretty wild. That's why you guys know me as Qazi. My boy Hillier, like, got something going on. He's using Filmbox, I believe. You guys see like what's happening here? Like that little dot that's appearing and it's gonna go away. You see that? This is like a Filmbox thing, and even like how pushed the look is. I think he just like slapped Filmbox, cranked it all the way, and then kind of maybe nudged a few things and printed it. If you think about it like an indie film, like a really pushed look, maybe a music video, it goes. I dig it. I dig it. It's very out of place for what we're going for. So I got to say that right out the bat. Not to mention that if I were to bring our actual image, and if you look at this right here, this is red, okay? Whereas if I go to yours, you see what's happening here? We're going for a very natural Rec. 709-esque look, but clean. We don't need to go full on film, grain, gate and weave and halation. It's not necessary. Like, you're overdoing it. What happens if I put this next to each other, right? This is just not it. So what can we do? You are so far, bro. But what I can start with is, like, I would say take a overall saturation and just pull it and just look at how moody of a look you got. And it just took care of so many problems. It took care of these like gunky green walls became white, super clean. The shirt became super white, like apple white. Our boy's skin tone became the best skin tone we've seen so far in the competition. The blacks became neutral, and the skin tone color separation compared to the denim is out of control. Looks freaking so good in filmic. Everything kind of fell into place, right? All I had to do is just saturation. Simple. Now I'm looking at it and I'm going, this is not bad. This could have been pretty good. And now we can apply the same rule, right? Like, we're looking at the vector scope, and if we want to balance our image, what do we have to do? We got to pull some cyan and green out. And if I put it next to this, then it can really help us. So I can go full printer light, and now I can just say, let's start with subtracting one full cyan. And as soon as we do that, we get in a pretty good spot. Now let's subtract one green. And as soon as we do that, we're in a really, really good spot. Look at the skin tones, like how natural the skin tones are looking. And just look at where they're sitting on the vector scope. What you get to see me doing this is that there's so much potential in everybody's look. That's the whole point of like this competition. I feel like a lot of people are going to get really encouraged that, hey, all I have to do is just this one thing. And like, I'm there and you are there, right? So like, that's why I always say color grading ain't fucking rocket science. People get so complicated and spend tens of hours like building looks. Like, just stop it. Hillier, I gotta give my boy 2.5. Once again, my boy just went too hard. We're just gonna move on. Looking at Jeffrey's, there's so many things that are wrong with this. Let's just start with this. So like, you're seeing like how much DNA you changed. So look at what you did to the hair. It went from red to full on pink. Same thing with like what's happening here to here. Like, just look at this, right? Like, the difference is just too much. It's like this magenta is like actually out of control. Like, look at the hand of the customer, and now look at the hand of the customer, like fingers. Like, this just looks like he just came out of the freaking water after being in it for 7 years. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I'm not, the point of this is not to bully anybody, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm a passionate guy, so I'm just trying to get that side out and just let you know like how I really feel, like what's going through my head. What I'm saying is, like, don't over-engineer like something so simple. Like, I just told you that, hey, give me a Rec. 709 look and just make it clean. One of the easiest gigs I've ever worked on was for ADIDAS. Like, I think I got the ad done it was actually 2 or 3 ads, and I got them done in like maybe an hour, 2 hours. And because I just sat down and I asked them what they're looking for. And when they explained it to me that, hey, the shoe is very important. It needs to look exactly the same colors as like what he was wearing in our product. Just make everything, like, clean everything else up. Just make it clean. That's it. And then I went and did just that. And that was it. They loved it. No revisions. Perfect. Done and done. So that's my point. What I would say is, like, I gotta give my boy 1 Qazi's for this one. And that's because I want to appreciate, you participating. But this is not the best. All right, moving on. Now we are looking at Ronald's grade, and it has like, I just learned to use qualifiers written all over it. Like, it's too much. It's too much. Like, I don't know, what can we do, right? Like, can we go here and I'm trying to use different tools for problem solving, so you guys can really get to see like how much of this can come into play for different occasions. So maybe something like that. So like, I mean, the reason why I chose my color warper is because I can do so much. So I just changed hue, saturation, and luma all in one place. So I don't have to like jump around like how you would in HSL curves. Color warper, you got to be careful with, because sometimes, because it makes such crazy changes, it's really easy for your footage to crack. But it does come in clutch. You just saw how many things I did like that. So it is useful for this purpose. Again, if we look at the hair to hair comparison, like, look at what you did, right? Like, you just introduced this orange in the hair that just does not belong. It's like more pinkish red. It doesn't have this orange, right? Like warm tones like that. This is the kind of stuff that we can't ignore. We have to keep that stuff in mind. I gotta go and give you 2.5 Qazis. It just has like sort of amateur written all over it. Like, again, like, hey, you know this tool, and you're so proud about it, and you using it so hard that you're just hitting me in the face with it, and I'm bruised, right? So it's just like we have to kind of just dial it back. Like, I learned something new. It's cool. Let's use it. Let's add some taste to it. Let's just dial it back. Because even if I punch in now, and I've been using this arm of my tattoo artist as an anchor. So anchor is basically like something that you will find in the image that kind of represents that thing. So in this case, skin tones, right? So I'm just kind of going here because I feel like his skin tones, his pigmentation is more toward yellow. His is more toward magenta, as it should be. But then somewhere here, because of the lighting and everything, something is happening where this is sort of like in the middle. So when I go and choose this right here, and start like kind of dialing everything in around that, it puts everything into place. Everything kind of just falls into place. And before we move on, if you guys want to see episode 2 soon, then let's get to 2,000 likes. So pause this video for a second, smash the like button, and let's jump back in. All right, moving on. So now we're on to this one. Very similar to what just happened here, I would say. So, I would do actually the same exact thing. So let's just go crank this puppy up to 16 and change that to qualifier. Remember to do that. And then I'm going to click right here and I'm going to just pull this. Now, the good thing about this one is that we didn't have to do all those other things. And plus, like, even the way the saturation is added here, yes, it is really extreme, like super, super, super crazy. Oompa Loompa times 800. Oh my goodness. Looking on the vector scope where it's sitting, like right here, not trying to blast anybody, okay? Like, that's not the point, but I just want to kind of show you where skin tones would be sitting, and it just looks so gorgeous. Why does it look so beautiful? It's because of like the massage. Just look at his waveform. Parker Jarvie is like one of my favorite colorists, and it's because he just does this dance. Like he's always living in the middle. It's like very much like Deacon's wet dream, right? Like just living in here, and then what he does is like the blacks are so freaking clean. Like I want to kiss it. I want to touch it. You can easily go and just add a little bit of like something else, and it just pops because you have that anchor that's just like, like that's what it should be. And then you add just a little bit of like juice, and everything just comes to life. And that's what's happening. Going back to it, now we can kind of see like what's happening, right? Like, you can put these next to each other and kind of go, holy hell, like what is just going on? That's one thing we can do. Can we just grab the overall saturation and kind of pull it too? We can. It doesn't really hurt. And then what can we do with the contrast? Like, can we open it up a little bit? We can. And then what can we do? Like if I just take my gain and pull it down, not too much, but even if I just put my gain somewhere around here, and now I come out of it and I do before and after. You see the amount of difference that I just made? I was just vibing it. Van Buren, I got a legendary name. I love this name. But Van Buren, I gotta give you 2 Qazis. Once again, you're everybody, all of you guys are seeing the potential, right? Like this is your guys' grades. Like all I did is just like 2 small changes and we ended up here. So everybody's got it. It's just hopefully when you watch this, and now that you will have access to the foot, obviously these guys do, but even everybody else, like all of you guys that are watching, once you download the footage, you can practice along and get these results. Move on to champagne rhubarb. Yeah, champagne rhubarb. Okay, champagne poppy, we're gonna call them. So this one, I love this. You guys might think I'm crazy. Out of everything that we've seen so far, I just haven't seen a better white. Like, look at how he cleaned up. This guy just took the apple white to heart and went after it. And that is amazing to me. That's what I was thinking. That's what was in my head. Just look at the blacks, look at the whites. He's so 3D, he pops out. Skin is like super clear. Yes, pushed, doesn't bother me. Because the anchors are so clean, the white and the black, I bought it. I bought the program. The only thing that I would do would be creating a window, making it something like this, and then go in my gamma and kind of just pull it down to something like that. You see what I'm doing to his like arm? Maybe like, let's go back in the window, make it smaller, feather it out, track it, track forward, track backwards. Boom, boom. Yes, I love color grading. What else would you do? Like maybe you can just dial back on the contrast? Not here. Just to kind of fit the bill, like what Apple is about. Maybe, but I'm going to have to have like access to the actual footage to like do it the right way. Like right now, I'm just working off of like Rec 709 and there's not really much there to pull out of. I'm getting emotional because this is history in the making. 4 Qazis and Champagne Papi is the first ever winner of the Rating Your Grades series. And now it's time to reveal the prize. So, drum rolls please. Champagne Papi, congratulations. You are going to be getting a DaVinci Resolve Studio license. If you already have one, then at least you got a great gift for Christmas. So congratulations, you can always sell it on eBay. Just do whatever you please, man. Reach out to me on Instagram because I still am figuring out how Discord works. Like, can you DM people on Discord? I don't know. But I do want to mention the Resolve key was donated to me by one of our FCM members, Ian. So thank you so much, brother, for doing that. Really appreciate you. And guys, make sure to join the Discord channel for episode 2. Peace.